All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining our Mulberry Talent Partners career conversation today. I'm Laura Back. I'm the marketing director at Mulberry Talent Partners. We're going to give everyone just maybe about 30 seconds here to continue logging on. All right, I think we can go on ahead and jump right in. So if you're new to Mulberry Talent Partners, just a quick introduction. We are a full service recruiting, temporary staffing, and executive search firm headquartered in Portland, Oregon. We specialize in human resources, professional and financial office, payroll and operations positions for direct hire, temp to hire, and temporary opportunities. We launched these career conversations in April of this year. We hold them every other Thursday at noon. They are 30-minute conversations where we invite industry and thought leaders to share their wisdom and expertise with job seekers and those looking to continue with their career development. Today, we are joined by Lauren Francis. She is the founder and president of Mulberry Talent Partners, and Tracy Hooper, who is the founder of the Confidence Project. And we have some exciting news to share. Tracy has so generously decided to donate a 1-hour one-on-one session to one of our attendees today. And this is a Confidence Project session. We will announce the winner at the end today. Without further ado, I'm going to go on ahead and hand this over to Lauren Francis, but also mention, if you have any questions that come up during the call, please feel free to go on ahead and use the little Q&A button, and we will save some time for those at the end.
Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you all today. We all know that words have power, and they matter more than ever when the stakes are high, especially during an interview. Today, I'm excited to introduce Tracy Hooper, the founder of the Confidence Project. She'll talk with us today about words to lose that may sound hesitant or uncertain, and words to use that sound strong and have an impact. I heard Tracy present a couple of years ago to a group of executives and business owners, and she wowed the crowd, including me. Tracy brings on-camera experience in broadcast TV news. She also built a successful voiceover business with clients like Disney, Marriott, and NFL Films. Her Confidence Project clients in Portland include Nike, Intel, and First Republic Bank, and me. Today, Tracy's here to share her wisdom and techniques for feeling confident and leaving a lasting impression with your words. Welcome, Tracy. Of course, let's get right into it. What is the origin of words to use and words to lose? How did you come up with that?
Well, it's because I'm a curious person, and I've always wondered why people say what they do and how they present themselves, whether it's a politician or a movie star or a corporate leader or a spiritual leader or an influencer, and how people speak from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. And what we all know is that culture impacts everything. The clothes we wear, the cars we drive, the music we listen to, and language is no different. So I began to think over the past several years about what kind of words people use that make them sound weak or unsure of themselves. And then what would be words that they could use that would be more influential and give them more agency. So hence, words to lose and words to use was born.
How were the lists and words and phrases developed?
I really read a lot. You know, when you begin to read newspapers and magazines and talk to clients, you begin to hear patterns of what people say on a regular basis. And then I was really influenced by it's sort of like buying a red car. You know, when you buy a red car, you notice all the red cars on the road. When I began to compile some of these phrases and words that people used, then I began to read books about it. This is a great book called The Confidence Code. I found some words to use and words to lose in there. This is another great book called Playing Big by Tara Moore. It's really a new model of leadership, and she has a great chapter in here there called Communicating with Confidence. and another book called The Culture Code, which really talks about how we're influenced by our culture, for better or for worse. And I spoke to my clients, and I would talk to people who would say, you know, I feel like I'm invisible. People are not listening to me. I don't feel like I'm making a significant impact in the room. And I discovered a lot of it was because of the words that they chose. So that's how I started it. Should we jump into some words to lose?
Yeah. I mean, do you refer that to, I mean, I hear this all the time, like, I want someone around me that's an influencer, someone that knows how to influence and bring ideas forward and make an impact so that the team can get on board with this idea. Is
Right.
this the same, is this somewhat in the same?
Yes, I mean, it's related. I think we can all be influencers if we're confident in our own voice, in the way we step up and step into a situation. I think many times we hold back and we don't use words that are strong because we don't want to seem aggressive. We don't want to seem too forceful. And the result is we sound weak and unsure. And especially for your candidates, there's never been a better time for them to really step into being a confident person.
Do you think it's because people do not want to be rejected? Meaning, you know, in certain situations, there are certain professions where you're used to being, let's say, rejected or turned down, and you're just kind of go from one thing to the next. And others are sort of a little bit hesitant and don't really want to know the answer. Is that, do you see that? Do you see that as well?
I do. I think a large part of it has to do with fear. We operate so much out of fear. What will people think? Will they think I'm too aggressive? Will they think I'm trying to show off because I'm smart? Hey, show off because you're smart. That's a good thing. We're always afraid of what people think. I heard this great interview with Patti LaBelle about a month ago, and she said, you know, fear is a fighter, and fear makes you a punk. And there ain't no punk in Patty. That's what she said. I love that. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Step into it and practice one step at a time. One phrase at a time can really change not only the way you think about yourself, but the way other people think about you.
Yeah. I often say, get into the arena.
Get into the arena. Yeah.
How does culture impact our language?
Well, culture is really important because we want to belong. I work with a voice coach named Linda Bryce, and she is a world-renowned voice coach with speakers and singers all over the world. And she says our greatest fear is being left out of the tribe, of the team, of the group. And we'll do anything to fit in, which is why we wear certain clothes and drive certain cars and listen to certain pieces of music, because we want to fit in. And so we use language to try to fit into the group. I remember when I was in high school, there was this really cool girl, and she used to say like all the time. I was like so psyched that like I was like able to do that. And in the beginning, I thought that was really cool. Now I know, many years later, that was her way of fitting into the group, fitting into the teenage world. Right. That word like is one of those fillers. We'll talk about that, Lauren. That's one of those filler words that we don't think about, like, you know, things. Things is one of those filler words. Patricia Fripp, who was the first female president of the National Speakers Association, said if it weren't a thing, what would it be? Would it be an idea? Would it be a challenge? Would it be a goal? Would it be a plan?
Right.
So interesting, because we say, oh, the most important thing is, and the next thing I want to say is, it gets lost. My weak word out of the filler group, I'm jumping right in, is the word so. So the next thing we're going to do, so every time that happens, it's one of those transition words that I never knew I overused until I was preparing to be on a talk show in town. And we had talked about the theme with the producer. I sent a list of questions, and then I was rehearsing for the question and answer with my phone. I do it a shelfie. I put my cell phone on the shelf and pressed record. And in a course of a mock 6-minute interview with myself and my phone, I used the word so 22 times. I was embarrassed in front of myself. And if I had never recorded myself, I would have never known. So everybody, you have my permission to count how many so's I say for the rest of the time.
My goodness. So the words to, what are the words to lose?
Well, the fillers are like, those are fillers. Another set of words to lose are called hedges. And these are words that make us sound hesitant, uncertain. We don't want to come on too strong, so we hedge. A hedge word would be just. And by the way, if you have a piece of paper, everybody, and a pen, or put it in notes, take some notes here, because I'll send a lot of words your way to lose and words to use. So just, how many times have you used the word just in any course of a conversation? I just have a quick question about. I just wanted to follow up. Do you hear people saying that?
All the time.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about. And it's as if we're justifying what we're saying.
Right.
What if we took out that word? I have a question about. I'm concerned about. I'm following up instead of I'm just following up. Recording is a really great thing to do. The other thing you can do is you can ask a friend or a colleague if they would record a conversation that you're having. And that way you'll be able to see or hear what words are weak. Kind of, sort of, a little bit, pretty. Pretty is another one of those hedges.
Yes.
Can you think of a way to use it? I'm
Right.
pretty excited.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident. I'm pretty concerned about this.
Right.
We don't even think about that. I mean, we're all listening to the news constantly now. I'm hearing scientists say we're pretty concerned about the pandemic.
Where did that word come from? How did it come into our language?
I don't know. Things happen in the media and then people glob onto it like it's the gospel.
Right.
And that's how we get caught up. Maybe, I guess, I think. All of those are hedges. Those are weak words. Now, here are some words to use instead. Use the word from my perspective. This is great for your candidates. From my perspective, what I've learned, our data shows. I mean, no one can argue with the data. I was working with a woman who was in the tech space for 15 years, very competent, very successful. But she said as new people came into the firm, she began to feel like people weren't paying attention to her. So we looked at the words. That she used and switched them up and on a sticky note, put from my perspective, what I've learned after 15 years in the tech space, our data shows. And she put that right on the side of her laptop. So in phone calls and emails, in-person conversations, she said within 3 weeks, people started treating her differently.
Really?
She had more ownership over her own language.
That also makes you feel more confident too. So many times in emails, there it is. See?
I know.
Okay. I'm sorry that go delete. And okay, how can I not say I'm sorry?
Yeah. Well, we can jump into that.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry is one of those, it's one of those phrases that we hear all the time when people don't even need to apologize.
Right.
Do you want to jump into I'm sorry? Or do you want to talk about one more group and then we'll go to I'm sorry?
Let's go to one more. Okay, let's go to one more group.
Okay, this is a really interesting one. These are what I call disclaimers. Disclaimers are words where you want to seem humble and you're modest, but it doesn't make you sound strong. Here's a disclaimer. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why would we ask someone to correct us before we've said anything? Here's another one. You've been doing this a lot longer than I have. Okay, but you might have a fresh perspective. Here's another one. What do I know? You know plenty. Your experience is worth something. You see the pattern here? We're trying to seem humble. Oh, I could be overthinking this. This is just my 2 cents. Wow. So here's some words to use. I love these, Lauren. Instead of saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you could say, let me know if I heard this correctly. Same purpose, same intent, stronger. Instead of saying, you've been doing this a lot longer, you could say, in my experience. Instead of saying, what do I know? You could say, here's my perspective.
Mm.
This is just my 2 cents. Or what if we try this? Isn't this cool? And the really cool thing about this, find one phrase and use it. You know, psychologists tell us if we practice something every day for 30 days, it will become a habit. Pick one of these phrases and use them and see what kind of reaction you get from people. I'll give you one more. These are called validators. I love these. So validators are words that you're trying to get check-in or buy-in from the audience. You might say to somebody, you know, is that okay? Do you know what I mean? Am I being clear? Does that make sense? How often do we hear this? And we all say it because we want to make sure that we're making sense to people. Now, I worked with a law firm in town about a year ago, and one of the senior partners said, look, this is a family firm. So we're dealing with divorce, alimony, childcare, estates, trust. I often say to my clients, does that make sense? Am I being clear? Because I'm not sure that they're getting it. And I agree, but here's something else you can say. Do you have any questions? Instead of saying, does that make sense? Do you have any questions? Or do I need to clarify anything? Instead of saying, am I being clear? Do I need to clarify anything? Subtle but significant ways that you can step up with more confidence in your language. How are we doing?
Really well. Well,
See, I'm looking for buy-in.
Yeah.
How's this landing with you?
Want to do a little role play?
Yep, love
Okay.
to.
Okay, let's do the I'm sorry segment. All right.
Great.
And then you'll respond. Okay. I'm sorry. You seem upset.
Right. You don't need to apologize for the way other people feel. They feel the way they feel. If you hurt their feelings, if you made a mistake, absolutely apologize. And in some cultures, people say, I'm sorry all the time. I was in a training once and somebody said, I'm from Canada. We apologize all the time. So there are some cultures where people say, I'm sorry. If you've hurt someone's feelings, made a mistake, by all means, apologize. But if someone says, I'm sorry, you seem upset, you can say instead, it looks like you're upset, Lauren. How can I help?
Okay.
Here's another one.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask this question.
Right. You know, you don't need to apologize for being curious. Asking a question means you're curious. CEOs are telling us that they're looking for people now with a high CQ, a high curiosity quotient. So if you have a question, so do other people. Instead, you could say, I have a question about that. Or, is now a good time for questions?
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
When you say you don't understand, it may indicate to others that you are not smart or not smart enough. When the reality is, what you're saying is the person who's explaining the situation or talking about the topic is not being clear. You don't need to say you don't understand. You could say, would you clarify that point, please? Would you say more about that, please? Could you expand on that, please? Same intent. You want them to be more clear, but you're not blaming yourself. How about number 4?
I'm sorry, I don't know the answer.
We don't always have the answer. If we had the answer, everybody, we wouldn't have a pandemic right now, right? You don't always have to have the answer, but you can say, I don't know the answer, but I'll get it for you by Friday, or I'll do my best to talk to my colleague to get it to you by Monday. Any more?
I'm sorry, I disagree.
Do you hear people say this sometimes, Lauren?
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes here, I respectfully disagree. And, you know,
and that sounds great. That's way better than saying, I'm sorry, I disagree.
Yeah. Are there other ways to?
Well, you could say, I have a different opinion.
Right.
I have another perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Here's how I see it. That makes a huge difference. And then how about the final one? I love this one, Lauren.
I'm sorry to be late getting back to you.
Oh my gosh. How many, I can't see hands, but How many people virtually get this email every day?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late getting back to you. Here's the best thing to say. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for understanding. I wanted to get all the information before I responded to you. Thanks for waiting. And speaking, and this moves us into our next segment. I want to be mindful if anybody has any questions. Do you want to ask those now, or should we continue on?
Are there, let's ask Laura. I don't know if there's any questions have come in.
Let's see.
We have had one question come in, so keep them coming, people. We have time. This came in from Janet. Janet says, Tracy, do you see a difference in confidence levels for stepping up in men versus women?
I think we can paint with a broad brush. I think it depends on the situation, that sometimes men are more confident than women in certain situations. The I'm sorry piece have been blamed a lot on women. I hear plenty of men say I'm sorry, but women get sort of blamed for that more. I think that when we begin to assert ourselves with strong language, we can be seen as strong but not overbearing. We can be seen as self-assured but not brash. All of these ideas I've sent you are not ways to be a pain in the neck, but to be able to assert yourself.
Great. Thank you.
Lauren, let's talk about what I'm noticing is the 2020 I'm sorries have expanded. It's so crazy because like in person, we're saying, I'm sorry, I forgot my mask, or I'm sorry you have to wear a mask in this office, or I'm sorry, I'm not ready to shake hands. We don't need to say that. You know, we can say, thank you. Thank you for reminding me to wear a mask. Thank you for letting me know you wear a mask in this office. Thank you for introducing yourself. Put your hand over your heart. Thank you for introducing yourself. I'm not ready to shake hands yet, but it's great to meet you. And especially for your candidates, Lauren, they're in a situation where they're going to have to meet people in person, right?
Sure. When they finally get to the on-site interview.
Exactly.
And
And are people being hired without on-site interviews?
they are.
My goodness.
Very interesting.
Who could have imagined?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions? Should we go to this?
Some other questions come in, Tracy.
Great.
All right. So Tanya asks, in your book or materials, are there specific words that an older job applicant can use that are optimal in interviews to appear strong and confident?
I would not say specifically for older individuals, but everything is evergreen. Everything that I offer, anyone can say. Thank you for asking that.
Great. All right. And Mika asks, does saying unfortunately have the same negative impact as I'm sorry? Example, I'm sorry, but I'm not the best person to answer your question.
Thank you for that. I love that. Unfortunately does have the same message. When I hear things on a voicemail, I'm sorry I'm not here to take your call. Unfortunately, I'm on vacation. What? It's fabulous you're on vacation. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it. I'll get back with you as soon as I get back into the office or something like that. I would lose the word unfortunately. Again, if there's been a mistake, please apologize. In fact, I have a monthly video, and the August video was about an authentic apology. We do need to apologize in certain situations. Thank you for that question. Anybody else?
Yeah, so Joe asks, Tracy, how can your confidence techniques be used to mitigate ageism while interviewing for a job?
I'd love to know more about that question. Lauren, do you think you could tease that out, or Laura? Tell me more about what Joe's saying.
A lot of people are aware of ageism, particularly candidates. And I get this, I get this all the time. And so there's a certain hesitancy to trying to skirt around the age topic.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't ask into that as interviewers. That's not something we do. However, I think it's about owning your age and feeling confident in the age and the experience that you bring.
The experience that you bring and the success that you bring.
That you have had.
Yes,
and
indeed.
it's a mindset. You've really got to embrace who you are and what you've achieved.
Yes. I talked to somebody yesterday who said, I'm exchanging all of my experience for wisdom. I have wisdom now. And I love that. The other thing to remember is Willie Loman, Death of a Salesman. He had 25 years of experience. He was a terrible salesman. Talk about your success and put it in a third person perspective. Clients tell me, my managers have said that I am. The VP mentioned to me just last week that I am the person who. Give that authority of praise to another person and then share it with the potential employer.
Rent the movie The Intern with Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
We all need a few laughs during right now too.
For sure.
Let's see. So Dawn asks, any simple tips for being more confident when using Zoom and all of the video meetings and presentations, including sound and look?
Dawn, you are my new best friend. This is so, and I'm using this word to make a point, this is critical. Here's the way you can make a big impact when you're on video calls. Look straight into that lens. Look straight into that camera. The tendency is to want to look down at the screen because I can see Laura, she's smiling at me. I can see Lauren, she's smiling at me. I'm getting a lot of feedback, but that doesn't make it feel like I'm looking at you, Dawn. Now I'm looking into the lens, and that's making it feel like, I hope, that I'm speaking directly to you. The other technique is to lift your laptop up, because a lot of times our laptops are below us and we're sort of looking down at our screen. That is not a good look. I've often said to people, there might be 3 supermodels in the world who look fabulous being recorded or photographed from below, but most of us need to be straight on to have the best look. So lift your laptop up. I have 2 thick books under mine, The Complete Works of William Shakespeare, which I dug out of the closet, and the Audubon Society Encyclopedia of North American Birds. Because they're both 1,000 pages, and that's lifted my laptop up high enough so that it feels like I'm, equal with you. I hope that's helpful. Thank you for that. I have a whole series on mastering virtual communications, and that's a big part of it.
I think it is. I know we had Gigi Rosenberg on in May, and she had shared that she likes to stand during Zoom calls because it gives her some energy and enthusiasm that she doesn't get while she's sitting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's right. I admire her.
Oh, I said so. There we go. It's going to be a hard habit to break.
Yes.
I understand that you're launching a new book this fall titled The New Hello. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and the inspiration behind it?
Thank you very much. Yes, I am. I have a business coach named Mark LeBlanc. And when we all went into lockdown and I had to switch, I've been doing one-on-one advising for years using Zoom and Skype and other platforms. But to have all my presentations have to go on Zoom was different. And I said to Mark, so I guess I'm just going to have to come up with a new hello. And he said, whoa, Tracy, that's your book. That's the title of your book, because we've been talking about my writing a book for some time. And it is a pocket guide for what to say and what to do in the new world of work. I mean, we know this is not going away anytime soon, whether it's permanent for a long time or forever, we don't know. But what I really want to help you do is go back into the office or any situation you have, an interview that you have, and feel confident that you know what to say and do. There's going to be a lot of, if this happens, say this. If this happens, if someone says this, you say that. It's really something you can pick up and say, okay, I'm going into this meeting. What do I do if someone wants to show me a picture on their phone of their pandemic puppy and I don't want to stand so close to them looking at their phone? You do, because I'd love to see your puppy, but I'm not comfortable standing so close at this moment. Tell me all about your puppy. What's the best part of having a dog? Now you've focused it on them, which is what they want, but you're protecting yourself. That's what the book's going to be about. It's a how-to, very simple, really fun, great stories. I'm a storyteller and I can't wait to share it with you.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
And will that be available on Amazon?
Be available on Amazon, and the goal is the end of October.
Great.
That's what my editor
said. That.
We're going to have Tracy on again talking about the new Hello, and we're going to be giving books away. So we don't have a date yet, but that's something to look forward to.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that.
We want to announce the winner of the one-on-one hour session with Tracy. Congratulations to Kimberly T. I will be sending an email to you this afternoon to connect you and Tracy to find a good time. And Tracy, can you tell us a little bit, just quickly in closing, how people can get in touch with you and the sort of services that you provide for individuals and organizations?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the offer. I offer one-on-one advising with emerging leaders all the way up to senior executives. And we work by Zoom, which is very convenient. And then I work with teams, high-achieving teams who really want to have courageous conversations where they can learn to stand up for each other, stand up for themselves, and have those conversations that can really lead the company forward. And they can anyone can find me on Instagram. It's theconfidence_project. You can also go to our website, which is confidenceproject.com. And on the website, at the bottom of each page, you can have an opportunity to sign up for our monthly video news program. And I have a 2-3 minute video every month, which really helpful tips to keep your confidence going and to share with other people.
Great. That sounds good. And we'll be sure to share your contact information when we email everyone today.
Thank you.
Just very quickly, some upcoming Mulberry events. Next week, we're going to hold a one-off resume makeover pop-up event with Kelsey Triff and Lauren Francis. It's not to be missed. We'll include the link to the Eventbrite in that. Interviewing 101 with Delina Bradley, an inside look at the corporate world of job applications, which is going to be very interesting. And then in October, we're going to be welcoming Lauren McGoodwin, who is the founder of Career Contessa. So we have a very exciting lineup this fall. We're so excited, and we'll share those links as well. So thank you all for joining us today for a Mulberry Career Conversation. Thank you, Tracy, for an incredible presentation. I think we all have a lot of takeaways that we can start putting into practice. So there I go with so again.
Well,
anyway,
like that red car, you'll see it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all again.
It's great to have you on. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.